The rainforest is an ecosystem dominated by water. Virtually every species that exists in tropical rainforests depends on water for survival, and luckily it is in no short supply. With water being so critical to the ecosystem's health, it comes as no surprise that many species have evolved to feed, live, and even breed around water sources. Our adventures through Costa Rica took us to dozens of rivers, lakes, and streams, and one group of species was a staple almost everywhere we went. These highly adapted avian species have evolved to exist largely on and around water, and they play an important role in many aquatic food webs. I'm talking, of course, about water birds. Costa Rica is home to a plethora of fascinating water bird species, and we filmed a number of them during our travels. So without further ado, get ready to meet the water birds of Costa Rica. Anytime we go birding around bodies of water, we can be fairly sure that we will come across at least a couple species of plovers. Costa Rica was no exception to this trend, as we encountered this lesser yellowlegs, a small insectivorous plover that spends its time searching for prey in the silty substrate of marshes and mangroves. Another species we came across was the striking northern Akana, one of the most unique plovers in Costa Rica. These guys can be found throughout Central America and parts of the Caribbean, where they inhabit vegetation-covered lakes and ponds mostly. They are perfectly adapted to this aquatic habitat. Their large feet allow them to walk along floating plants in the water and forage where few other birds can. They feed on small insects and crustaceans, and will fall prey to species such as caimans and snakes. The Akana is a beautiful bird and instantly became one of our favorite subjects to film. This little guy greeted us almost every morning, and it was fascinating to watch their incredible adaptations in action. One iconic species we encountered during our birding expeditions was the green heron, arguably one of the prettiest of the heron species. Green herons are easily recognizable by their glossy greenish coloration, and can be found throughout North and Central America. They mainly inhabit shallow wetlands and low-lying water sources, and though they are primarily nocturnal, they will forage actively during the day. Green herons feed mostly on small fish, amphibians, and aquatic arthropods, and hunt by wading slowly through pools of water in search of prey with the help of their long legs. One fascinating thing about the green heron's feeding behavior in particular is that they've actually been observed using tools to hunt. Specifically, they will drop insects, food scraps, and other small objects into the water to attract fish, and then they will catch and eat any fish that are drawn in by the bait. This fascinating behavior goes to show just how incredible water birds can be, and the green heron is no exception. One common sight at many water sources was the black-bellied whistling duck, a whistling duck species distributed from the southernmost point of the United States down through Central and South America. These guys get their name from their rich black chest plumage, as well as from their shrill, whistle-like call that is unique to waterfowl from the Dendrocygna genus. The black-bellied whistling duck is a highly gregarious, or social species, and will form large flocks of dozens of individuals even out of breeding season. Like most waterfowl, they are largely herbivorous and will feed on seeds and pondweed mostly. They inhabit still, shallow freshwater areas like ponds and lakes, and usually nest in hollow trees or in tall patches of grass adjacent to water sources. Though often overlooked, black-bellied whistling ducks are in fact a fascinating species, and we were super happy to catch up with them on our Costa Rican adventure. Perhaps the most distinct species of waterfowl that we came across was the Muscovy duck, a large, brilliantly colored duck found throughout Central and South America. They naturally inhabit lakes, marshes, and grassy areas, but Muscovy ducks are easily habituated to human settlements, and the flock we observed spent most of its time around a grain storage area on a farm. These guys are primarily herbivorous, feeding on grasses, seeds, and aquatic plants, but they will feed on some invertebrates and small reptiles as well. Muscovy ducks have been an important part of the ecosystem and cultural heritage of Costa Rica for hundreds of years. They've been kept domestically by many native peoples and served as an important mid-tier consumer in the natural ecosystem. This variety of roles makes the Muscovy duck one of the most underappreciated and yet vitally important species in Costa Rica, and one that we were very happy to highlight. Their abundance provided us with many opportunities to watch their interactions, and their bold personalities and beautiful coloration made them a pleasure to film. In a country with such spectacular avian diversity as Costa Rica, it's easy to overlook birds such as waterfowl, which seem to be everywhere and usually lack the striking colors and iconic behaviors of the more famous tropical bird species. However, water birds are actually a diverse and charismatic group, and they serve vital roles in the ecosystem. One of the common themes among our videos is appreciation for even the most common wildlife, because it is this common wildlife that we share space with every day. Humans have an impact on all species, and so it is important to treat all animals with respect, perhaps most especially the species that live alongside us. If you enjoyed learning about some of Costa Rica's fascinating water birds, be sure to leave a like on the video and tell us in the comments down below what species you're hoping to see next. There is still so much more coming from Costa Rica, so subscribe to the Wildlife Brothers now so you catch all those episodes as they come out. Cheers, guys!